I'm gonna close my calculator down. Spotify can go. Feedly can go. Okay, what have we got left? Asana. You can go. Slack, you can go. Freedoms internally.
What?
I'm just reading the GIF that was appearing on Slack. I'm just like closing all the pages down.
Oh, fuck you.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. I just know exactly why you're doing that.
Who scored?
Fucking Nick Foligno. Get the fuck out of here. No.
I love Nick Foligno.
No, it wasn't Nick Foligno. It was Seth Jones.
Oh, hey!
Nick Foligno just donated $500,000 to the Boston Children's Hospital.
I know he did. I live here.
So when you say fuck Nick Foligno,
I said fuck you because a goal was scored. Listen, you know how this works. Don't even fucking at me, okay? Get out of my face.
I don't have a team. I don't care who wins.
That sounds like a fucking
not
you
Patrick
problem,
Kane.
buddy. That sounds like a you problem.
Do I look like someone who's concerned about this? Yeah, I've got a real problem. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Get out of my face.
You know how great it is not to have a team? So good.
You can cheer
You
for
never
anybody.
get sad then. You're like, exactly.
You're just a
And when the
hockey,
team that
just
you
a
have
fucking
insurance-
hockey Pollyanna over there. I just want everybody to have a good time.
I just want to see good hockey that isn't played by Patrick Kane.
Yeah. That would be nice.
Speaking of that, so it was really nice to see them get the shit kicked out of them last night by my other team.
Oh, yeah, go St. Louis.
That was beautiful.
I enjoyed watching the Sharks not really kick their ass, but definitely not lose to the Kings.
Oh, what did that end up? What was the score of that game? Because I saw like the first 5 minutes.
I think it was 2-1.
That's not bad.
Yeah. And after the first goal, I guess Pavelski, Sasky's favorite, went in and toyed with the puck a little bit after it had gone into the net and quick like flipped. And like they 6 guys all on top of each other, and somehow he didn't get ejected. I was just fingers crossed.
Well,
I've never seen a goalie get ejected, and I was so freaking ready.
He's on IR now.
I've seen a goalie get ejected.
That sucks.
No, the best thing I ever saw is there was this goaltender in Australia called Matt Ezzy, who I adore. Good friend of mine. Doesn't learn his lessons well. Everyone knows Ezzy is well known for like kicking the net off, right? Everyone knows that in hockey in Australia. And he did it in this game, right? And the referee grabbed him and said, "You do it again, I will toss you for this game." And it happens again. And true to his word, the referee was like, "You're out." And tossed him, I think, unsportsmanlike, and threw him out of the game. And we were all like, whoa, did that just happen? But JR, who's the Kings insider, John Rosen, I worked for him when I was in Everett, and I was super into the Sharks, and he was super into the Kings. And like I think the Kings beat the Sharks like every single game the entire time I was there. And I would come back in, and he would like have got all his Kings paraphernalia and like decorated my desk with it, and I was just like, I fucking hate you.
That's
okay,
not cool.
Connors, let's do this because my drugs are gonna kick in sometime soon, and I will be asleep.
Yeah, and I want to watch the end of this game, so let's do it.
Okay, let's find QuickTime Player recording.
You start a fresh
microphone. Yep, sweet. Yeah.
Remember that time I didn't hit record because I hadn't slept in 48 hours because Alexander Rossi won the Indy 500, and then I immediately drove home.
And there is literally,
next day, which is the stupidest thing I've ever done. That's fine.
but it was also the podcast got ruined because the blab recording was both of us talking over each other at the same time.
Yeah. All right.
I think it's archived somewhere.
Yeah, probably.
Google knows everything. They have it.
Mm-hmm.
What are you eating?
Okay. I'm just going to finish what I'm eating. I'm eating vanilla
Well, stop eating.
no,
Let's
caramel.
fucking do this. Come on, man.
Yeah, as soon as I finish eating the one I'm currently eating, I will start, okay? Don't you give me shit. I still edit this shit.
I know.
That's the hardest part. I hate editing. That's why I don't have my own podcast.
Oh, fuck, I hate it. I have to teach Sarah how to do it.
Yeah,
so that we can
you
split
gotta
it
do
up
that. I
between
need
the two
to-
of us.
Do you still have
It's the fucking worst.
Do you still have the download file for that editing software?
I don't think I do.
Okay, I'll download a
But
torrent.
let
It's
me.
fine.
No. Okay, cool. Because otherwise, I was like, I guess I can download it and put it somewhere again, so that you can download it from somewhere.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'll figure it out.
I got the torrent link still, so I can give you that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because I want this to go up no later than Monday. Because then it's race week again, and it's stupid.
Yes. Yes, Sarah Connors.
Listen.
Listen to what? Listen what?
Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah, you can edit the next 30 of them, babe.
I will. Come on. That's the point. That's why I'm figuring out how to do it, because I have tons of free time at work.
Let me just. Sorry. Shan, is how do you want me to introduce you? I should check this first.
You can call me Shannon Cole. That's my name.
Perfect.
And
Easy, because the notes in front of me only has you as Shan and Oshanda. So I was like,
No, it's Oshanada, as in
Yes.
Canada, but not.
nailed
right,
it.
I realized that as I butchered it. I was like, oh, I know what this is.
You actually did the better job. Most people say Oshanada. And I'm like, what the hell does that even mean?
Oshanda.
Yeah, so I had this sweater from
I'm
the
tone
2010
deaf, so
Olympics
let's-
that I wore too much. And then they called me Oshanada for wearing it too much.
That's awesome.
I went to the 2010 Olympics with an Australian flag, and some fuckwit CBC reporter was like, "Oh, are you from England?" And I was like,
You can't even see the Southern
"Yeah,
Cross from
sure."
England.
I was like, yeah, this is completely the Union Jack with like just a whole nother bit just attached for fun. It's like, okay, yeah, like I sound British some days. I get Uber drivers who that, yeah, still. Okay, did they get scored on again?
No.
No?
They're
You just,
playing
okay,
like
because you
garbage.
just went like this. Okie dokie. Okay.
Oh, I
Sarah
can add.
Connors?
What's
Oh,
up?
What? Yes, go ahead.
I was
No,
going to say,
yes.
you could say I'm a sports writer because I am.
Okay.
That's good.
We'll have you plug all your stuff at the end.
Cool.
And you're talking obviously about all the other stuff with us, but you are expert in the NHRA.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my
How
name.
many times do I nearly call it the NRA? Like, just wait for me to be like, it's not the shit that's not the NRA.
No. The National Hot
Okay.
Rod Association, right?
There's some overlap, but there's a big difference.
Yeah.
Oh, there's probably a serious amount of overlap.
There is.
Well, it's race cars in
Okay,
America. so
okay,
yes.
everyone. Is everyone good to go?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Sarah Connors,
Hello.
guess what time it is?
It's podcast time. We're on episode 33.
I'm like
of
excited
this
you said this.
bullshit.
You're like, oh my god, yeah, it's Thursday night. Let's talk about cars. But
Let's talk
that is
about
what
race
we're
cars.
here to do. It is podcast time. You are listening to the Grid Girls, and today we have another wonderful member of the extended Grid Girls community. You're all part of our Grid Girls community. Sorry, that's just how it is. We have Shannon Cole, sports writer and NHRA expert. That's what we're calling you. You are here, and you're going to tell us all about this stuff that we've become super interested in, but I'm going to admit I know nothing about other than getting from A to B really fast.
That is the basics of it. And that's really all you need to know. When the light turns green, you go.
You go real fast.
Really fast.
That's all I know.
I have to admit, most of my hot rod knowledge comes from watching the Erica Enders
Yes.
Disney movie earlier this year. So I like to feel I have like a passing understanding of lights go green, go. But that's about it. It's very Disney junior girl rated.
Cool. Well, I could definitely explain some stuff. The NHRA, the National Hot Rod Association, was founded in 1966 by a Californian, I think he's Californian, named Wally Parks. And now, to this day, when you win an event at an NHRA sanctioned event, you get a statue of Wally holding a tire.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's called a Wally. So instead of getting a trophy, everyone wants a Wally. So when they, do the pre-race interviews,
I think the Disney movie, she gets one of these at the end of it. She wins like a national championship, and they give her because I remember seeing that. They're being like, "Well, that's an interesting way to go about trophies."
yeah, a guy
Because I
with
definitely
a tire.
can't drink from that.
Yeah, so
I like that. That's cool.
it is, and it's the same trophy from the top down. So even when you're like a locals doing sportsman stuff on the weekends, you receive the same trophy that the professionals receive. So it's like getting your own Stanley Cup.
That's awesome. That's super
I like
awesome.
that.
So yeah, let's launch right into this actually. No really serious intro today. We're gonna go right into women in motorsports because the NHRA is actually like super good at this. Way better than say F1, but better than even IndyCar where like we've
Better
had
than
3 or 4
literally-
women racing in a season at the same time. It's pretty incredible.
Better than
Absolutely.
literally any motorsport going around.
Absolutely. With one exception, I mean, I don't know if you guys count motorcycles or motocross as motorsport. Girls are tearing it up in motorcycles.
We tend to stick to 4 wheels here, but I know like is it Anna Beatriz is in motorcycles?
Anna, there's the Golden Race of Moto 3.
Yeah, that's Anna Beatriz. We only kind of vaguely know about that on here too, but in terms of 4-wheel
the awesome girl in Malaysia who is the badass hijab wearing motorcycle champion.
Yes.
Oh, I want to be friends with her.
Yeah, she seems really, really
I know,
excellent.
we do too.
We should get her to hang out with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Girl squad.
But yeah, we mostly stick to 4 wheels on here, and in terms of that, I think NHRA is probably the best venue in terms of women in motorsport from kind of the top down.
Absolutely. It all started in the 60s, late 60s. There was a driver named Shirley Muldowney, who was the first woman to receive an NHRA driver's license. The basics of the sport come from hot rodding in Southern California, hot rod culture. So souping up your car, getting it to go fast. And it's kind of very similar to how NASCAR got started, which was rum running. And it was souping up cars to get, alcohol distributed down south. So here, there's not a lot of alcohol.
Wait. Is that how NASCAR got started?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the most American thing I've ever heard.
NASCAR wouldn't exist without Prohibition.
Yep.
Well, because I have no concept of NASCAR. Like, I don't really follow NASCAR.
I mean, I don't either.
So
but I knew
basically,
that.
so wait, you also grew up in America, Sarah.
That's true.
So basically, like, the car from the Dukes of Hazzard is like an early NASCAR concept.
That would be kind of middle of the road.
Without the Confederate flag painted on the roof. Actually, no, probably with the Confederate flag painted on the roof.
They used to run a race called the Southern 500, and the logo for the race was the Confederate flag.
Of course it was. Of course
classy.
it was Southern America.
Wait,
Jeez.
you guys. I'm so sorry.
What?
David Backus just scored his first goal as a Bruin.
No. This is
Puppies.
This is a motorsports car. Oh, God.
Puppies and
Okay, Sarah.
I'm sorry. Listen, I have so many feelings right now.
Gloria's,
You can leave this in.
Okay.
I am simultaneously
leaving
trying
this
to do this podcast and watch a Bruins game. The first Bruins game of the season. We're losing. It's terrible. It's expected. But good times. Anyways, Race cars. Confederate 500. Don't ever do that. Can we?
No.
Can we not? Can we just not?
I think now it's called it's a Bank of America 500 or
Where is it?
No, Charlotte. So
okay.
Bank of America.
Huh.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
but out here in California, we go straight. Just
Yes.
straight.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm imagining like the Fast and the Furious, like those sorts of races where you go for like a half a mile or a quarter mile because he lives his life a quarter mile at a time, right?
Exactly. Yeah. The little kids do an eighth of a mile though.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know what a mile is.
You what?
How long a mile
Oh, no.
You know what? That sounds like a you problem.
No, this sounds like an American one because y'all keep thinking that a mile is a smart form of measurement.
It's not.
No, it's not, but we're still gonna use it. I don't give a fuck. And
It's
also
not, but
all
we're
of
stuck
the
with it,
all of the
we're
race
gonna ride
cars,
it out.
all of the race car stuff that happens down here, except like the Texas 600, is all measured in miles. So,
Yeah.
you know what?
Sorry, Shannon, you may not have heard this on one of I don't know how much you've listened to us before, but we had a great incident around about the Indy 500 where it didn't compute to me that 500 miles.
Yeah.
Because just as the race starts, or like maybe like an hour beforehand, I've texted Sarah in I think all caps lock, and it just reads, "What do you mean this goes for 3.5 hours?"
It's 500 fucking miles, Sasky.
That's
Yeah.
NASCAR
But
every Saturday or every Sunday.
Yeah.
That hadn't computed to me. I had gone into it thinking, okay, if the race starts at 1, it's going to be like 90 minutes because that's like what an F1 race typically is. 90 minutes, and then I can get an Uber to the rink and I can be there in time for the Marlies game starting at 3 p.m., right?
Oh, because
No,
they were in the like
3.5
finals or whatever, right?
They were playing Hershey in game 5, right?
Yeah.
Or game 4 or something like that. And I was like, okay. And then I found out it's a 3.5 hour race. It's like, fuck it. I better stay and watch the whole race. And you know what? I'm glad I did because I got to witness the text joy that was Sarah absolutely like Alex Rossi crosses the line. And I think I just started laughing and I didn't stop laughing for like a good 45 minutes. Because Sarah is like on text messages to me, losing her mind. But I missed this hockey game. And the one fucking Australian that plays professional hockey scored the game-winning and series-winning goal. And I was just like, well, you know what? This is why you can't have nice things at the same time.
Nope, you can't.
I looked it up though. It's a quarter mile is 402.336 meters.
So
I thought you were about to say feet. And I was like, I don't know what that means either.
So
Times it by 3.
4/10 of a kilometer. A little less than half a kilometer.
Journalism major.
A
I
little
don't
less
do
than
math.
half. Okay.
Me neither. It's fine.
Yeah, me either.
Oh my god,
I should know because I have a converter on my phone for this purpose.
I do too. I literally
So-
have this app just for converting so that I can understand how hot things are or how far something is.
and how bad the
Yeah.
British pound is
425
tanking
Fahrenheit.
against the
I'm like,
dollar.
what is that?
Like, I use it for everything. I actually just scrolled back to find these text messages. The Indy 500 goes for 3.5 fucking hours. Then me, Saskia, it's 500 miles. That's a long ass way. And then her going, miles are stupid. They make no sense. Why can't you be like the rest of the world for once, America? And then I literally just texted her some American flag emojis, which you can't see. Yeah. And also a bald
I
eagle.
also think America's like, oh no, but read the next one.
Look, theoretically, I know it's 500 miles, but I was totally like, well, it's like F1. It'll be 2 hours. And then I just bald eagle gif. And then I'm so happy for you. I'm literally crying for you in America. And then this is your 9:43 Sarah Connors wellness check. And I was just like, I'm good. We went for burgers.
Yeah, because she vanished. She
I literally disappeared.
right?
Because
And I was like, I better check to make sure she hasn't
died.
like A, she's fine, or B, that she's very drunk with Alex Rossi and people.
Yeah.
No, well,
I was kind of like, please be the second one, but at least she's like, we've got burgers. I'm like, okay, everyone's okay.
close. We got real drunk with Connor Daly, not Alexander Rossi. That was a good time. But yeah, I went like off the grid for like an hour because we literally like booked it from our seats to like the pit exit area so I could put my flag over the thing. And then a lot of garbage happened.
I love, Sarah, that we managed to make a podcast that has nothing to do with Alex Rossi about Alex Rossi.
Yeah, I've got more about Alex Rossi.
So, excuse me, every time you get up me for mentioning Mark Webber, who I get to talk about for legitimate reasons today, I'm just going to be like, oh, excuse me, Alex Rossi.
You know what, though?
Okay.
No.
No.
It's fine. Back to NHRA.
This is the third podcast in a row we had the same conversation.
This is going to keep happening. There are lots of ladies in NHRA. Please tell us about them. Shirley Milbani, she's great.
Shirley was my first actual hero, and my second hero was this woman named Angèle Sampé, Angèle Savoie. She's had a couple different last names. And I know we're a four-wheel podcast, so we do have to point out that the roll bar on Angèle Sampé's motorcycle has two wheels. So technically she's got four wheels on. Mm-hmm. She was one of the first women to win she was the first woman to win the Pro Stock motorcycle, or Pro Stock bike, it used to be called, division of the NHRA. And today there are, I think, 5 women competing in that event alone. Melissa Serber, Angie Smith, Angèle Sampé, Valerie Thompson, who set a land speed record on a motorcycle, also competes in it. And these are the fastest vehicles on Earth in the first 10 feet. The amount of horsepower they have, the amount of traction they can get, they just fly. They're like rockets. Mm-hmm. In addition to them, there's the Force sisters. And have you guys heard of John Force?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Graham Rahal is married to his daughter.
Exactly. I interviewed.
The Force sisters are like the only part we know about in our NHRA. Like,
we
know the
Force
Force
a couple times. She's pretty cool.
She is. I talked to her about Graham and asked her, like, how hard is it to do your own race and be, an athlete and be on the top of your game while knowing that the person that you love most in the world is doing the exact same thing halfway across the world, and you can't be with him, you can't support him, she can't get support from him. So she said that she likes to just sit in the pits and pretend that she doesn't know what's going on because ignorance is bliss. She doesn't have to worry.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear his perspective on the same thing.
Yeah, and I think he might be a little more scared because she goes 300 miles an hour in 6 seconds, and that's
exactly
frightening. I don't like it when my boyfriend speeds.
Yeah,
the Force sisters are, I think, the biggest driving force, pun not intended, behind the draw of women towards motorsports. And there's Brittany, Courtney, and Ashley Force. All 3 of them have competed in Funny Car Top Fuel Dragster. And their mom, when their daughters, when John and, I can't remember her name, their mom's name, I'm so sorry. When the daughters expressed interest in joining the NHRA and in joining Dad's family business, she decided to get her NHRA driver's license too, to see, like, okay, do I want my kids to do this?
That's awesome.
So I think they're the only family that all 5 of the immediate family members have NHRA driving licenses.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
You guys mentioned that they're like the only ones that you know of from NHRA, and that's basically it for a lot of people. They're pretty marketable.
No, I know Alexis DeJura.
Yes, Alexis
DeJura
and Erica.
Yeah.
Alexis actually got hurt at the last race that I went to. Her engine blew. Something happened. There's a big concussion. She went into the wall. And she climbed out of the top of the car of her own volition, but then went to the hospital and found out she had like a fractured pelvis, something so gnarly.
Oh my God, that's gross.
And I was like, this when she got out, she just
women are tough ass bitches.
Like, it's true. But like, if you have a fractured pelvis, like, I would be dying. I'd be like on the floor.
She just looked pissed that she couldn't finish her weekend.
There's going to be a certain amount of adrenaline that kind of in that moment, you're like, yep, holy hell, I can actually, that's damaged.
Yeah. It could also be tequila, but I mean, not that she was drinking. Her dad but her dad makes Patron.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
He got sick of having bad hangovers, so he contacted some friends in Mexico and was like, I want the best. Let's get it. So that's why we have Patron. And that's why my dad drinks it almost exclusively.
Nice.
That's amazing.
And Patron sponsored not only NHRA, they're also involved in IMSA and quite a few motorsports series. They have quite a considerable presence in motorsports across the different categories.
Yeah, and I think because the DeJoria family is so deeply involved with the brand, that if more women were to come up in those come up in the ranks in those divisions of racing, I think sponsorship opportunities would be there. I think that they would be able to get a full-time ride. I would hope so, because like we're tearing it up. Alexis kicks ass.
Yeah. See, that's pretty amazing that sort of situation exists, like for a whole, segment of motorsports. It would be really cool to see that happen in like, some other sports car championship, or even, God forbid it happen in F1. But
can I ask based on that though? So we already have the Force sisters who are kind of under the Force umbrella, are they? Or are they kind of, yeah. And then so you have DeJoria, whose main sponsorship comes through Patron, which is a family business.
Correct.
Are there any other female drivers at the moment who are participating who kind of don't fall under that kind of family banner?
Yeah, I would say almost all of the rest of them. Leah Pritchett is from Southern California. She's freaking brilliant. Like, if she wasn't racing, she'd be running the world. She has a great business mind, incredible business acumen. She knows how to promote, and like, just, she's so smart. Like, when I was talking to her, I was like, oh my God, do my taxes, please. She's with Don Schumacher Racing, which is a huge name in the sport. And she got this opportunity to work for the Sarge, as his nickname, the Sarge. He used to drive the U.S. Army car. She got the opportunity because she just showed what she was worth on the track. She was putting up good numbers, chopping down the tree. Chopping down the tree is a good way to say really quick off the starting line. So the actual device that stands at the front of the drag strip looks like a T, and it has lights that come up a column. And there's two sets for each driver. So there's staging lights, kind of similar to the way the lights come on in F1. And then the green comes on and you go. And it's called a Christmas tree because it lights up red and green.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
It's actually, my family doesn't celebrate Christmas, so it's the only Christmas tree I've ever known.
I like that even more.
Yeah, I thought about getting my dad one because last Christmas I called him and was like, I'm so grateful that we didn't do any holiday BS, no decorating or anything. But I think it would be kind of cool to have a Christmas tree that we put like one ornament on.
Just one of those with like
I come from a family where
a
like
little bulb, maybe a little star on top. That's it.
Little race car.
Yeah.
My family color coordinates our Christmas tree every year with the decorations, but it's all like, my mom is big on having Christmas trees that look like she robbed it from a magazine, which, isn't terrible. But people are like, oh my God, here's our family Christmas decorations. I'm like, we don't have those because they don't coordinate.
No.
I think my mother just needs more of a job.
I want her to tweet all the time.
Does she have a Twitter?
She does.
Oh no.
My mother?
Yeah. Oh my God,
Yeah.
Sassy, send me your mom's Twitter like short after this podcast. I want to follow this.
Like my dad's Twitter that my dad uses to follow comedians, but turns out my mom has found out how to use it, and she basically uses it to reinforce people's messages every time they tell me that I'm a good person. My mom interjects into the conversation and like, see, I tell her this all the time, and I'm like, thanks, Mom. Or my mom being like, who's that boy? Who's that boy in your photo? And I'm like,
it's Jeffler. Mom. It's always Jeffler.
Your mom is your
like,
fact checker.
My mom is the best person I know, but sometimes I'm like, can you just not get on Twitter because it will crush what you think of the world?
But she's got this great spirit, and I don't want that to be killed by Twitter.
Oh my God, she's glorious. I wish she had one when she used to work at the sex store, because that would have been hilarious.
Oh my God.
Because it would have been like, this is what happened today. Because those were some fucking funny stories.
I imagine that Australian sex store is kind of crazy.
Oh okay. Yeah. Instead of making things out of like horsehair, like kangaroos. kangaroo leather, that kind of stuff.
That's illegal in California now.
Kangaroos are a pest.
They are, and that's
What?
why I have no problem with kangaroo leather gloves, even though I'm vegan. Like, it's important to wear gloves if you're on a motorcycle, and now you can't buy kangaroo leather gloves in California. Because,
Wow, seriously?
yeah.
I mean, where do they think
have a
they're
law
coming
about
from?
everything.
Particular?
Like, where? It's like deer skin
Oh, no,
stuff.
people have like kangaroo farms.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have some here. We have wallaby
Kangaroos
farms.
are a massive pest. And the thing is, most of the kangaroo skins come from like the places where they breed the kangaroos so that you can eat them.
Oh, wow. So you're using the whole kangaroo.
Yeah, no problem.
That's
I have
good.
no issue with that.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
This is how I feel about deer out east here, because like in Pennsylvania, Ohio, like those states, deer are a massive problem. Like they are a pest. They're a menace. People hit more deer in Pennsylvania. Like, I think a map was made, and like it was from green to red, like how many deer are hit in every state, and Pennsylvania was like the darkest red possible. During
Speaking
April
of
and
hitting
May.
things, did you see what happened in Canada today?
No.
A guy in Newfoundland hit a moose while slowing down to see what happened to another car that had hit a moose.
They were probably mates. It was probably like the one dude hit the lady moose and he hit the dude moose. Like, what the hell?
Apparently, there was also 3 other moose incidents at the same time. I was like, Canada!
That's like peak Newfoundland. I don't even know. But yeah, deer are terrible. When I was driving to Indianapolis, like, it was May, so it's mating season, which is also hunting season. Because if you don't thin out these deer populations, like, it's too much. And I mean, people use the deer for everything. They use it for meat. They use it for the skin. You know, why not? Why the heck
Why not?
Solves a lot of problems, and you get a lot of useful stuff out of it. So
And cool
And
antler
kangaroo is
things.
also
Yeah,
delicious.
yeah. We have we don't have deer antlers at my parents' house, but we have antelope antlers, which are like basically the deer of Wyoming, which is where my aunt
Yeah.
and uncle live.
I didn't know antelope were real until I saw one.
Yeah.
I thought they were a joke. I'd seen
Sorry.
pictures, but I didn't know.
No, they are. They
I
really
went
are.
to
There are not a lot of people in Wyoming, but the few people that live there, like, there are way more antelope than people.
I
So-
went to South Africa earlier this year, and the amount of weird animals they have that are basically like deer with different fucking horns on them is amazing. And there's like this is a such and such, and this is a that. I'm like, they look the same. Like, no, the horns are different.
Oh, sure.
Like there's like 15 different animals with horns that are all slightly different, and some of them hop. And they're like, it looks like a baby deer because it's only like knee high, but it still has horns or like antelope thing. It's amazing.
What's it called?
And they're great. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called, but it was so cute because it hopped.
Just Google tiny
I
hopping
saw it at the
deer
zoo.
thing.
It was next to the baby pygmy hippo.
Oh my god. That's adorable.
You think cute? Wait till you've seen a baby pygmy hippo that has like moss on it because it's been rolling around.
Aw.
So good. Okay, we have got totally off track. I don't even know what track we were on to have ended up on this track. But hey, as we say, F1 is serious and we are not. If you came here for some sensible talk, you would have been disappointed about 31 episodes ago, I would
I'd say 32. 32. This is episode 33.
32 episodes.
So,
Okay, I thought we were on 32 there. So, well, maybe there was one. Maybe like no, there wasn't really, was there?
someone
Was
in our
there
little, so we're recording this live and people are watching it, and someone says 15 miles from the Pennsylvania border, can confirm deer are pests. Boom. Done.
Can confirm. Annoying.
Yep.
I don't know. I've never seen a deer.
You good. You don't want to. I'm pretty sure, like, most
dear.
cars.
That's still my favorite F1 part.
Thanks.
There's a deer on the track.
Juan
dear.
Pablo Montoya.
I saw 2 deer yesterday. Like, I
Yeah,
can say
I live. Oh my god! I saw 2 raccoons yesterday because one of them was in my house.
Oh my god, trash pandas.
I have
opened
this
the door and I was like, "There's one on the step and one like running into my house." And I
Oh my god.
called Brody, who lives upstairs, to me and was like, "Brody, there is a raccoon in my house and one in the back stairwell, and you need to come and deal with them." And he's like, "I'm right there." So he comes out with a broom and a toy. like gets rid of them. And I was like, I like to think I'm a big, strong woman. And then some raccoons came, and I was like, fuck this noise. That's what upstairs for.
I've got some raccoons that chill in my backyard, and I name them after hockey players from Toronto because Toronto has a ton of raccoons too. So the two that come the most are Steven Stamkos and PK Subban. Yeah, you could send me some more squirrels. Steven and PK to hang out with.
That's awesome.
Naming my raccoon. I'm going to call the first one Anze Kopitar.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like a raccoon. It's perfect.
As he's known, praise be Raccoon Jesus.
Raccoon Zombie Jesus. He also looks like the undead.
A staff member of the LA Kings literally called him Raccoon Jesus to me once. And I was like,
oh my God.
And then spelled it out in emojis. It was amazing. So,
Anyway.
TLDR, our whole conversation, the NHRA is amazing, and it is full of women.
Do we have anything else to add to this segment? I feel like
I would add that
in women in motorsports.
no. I mean the NHRA segment.
I think
Okay.
a lot of the reason for women being in the NHRA, besides representation, besides seeing somebody who looks like them on television doing the sport, is the junior dragster program. And this sounds crazy. The first time my boyfriend saw it, he was like, are they seriously going to do this? They have these eighth size dragsters. They're only about 6 feet long, but they go 70 miles an hour on an eighth mile, which is 201.15 meters, if I remember correctly.
Thank you for that conversion. It's a quarter of a kilometer.
Yeah.
They're living their life a quarter of a kilometer at a time.
Exactly. And 70 miles an hour tops.
Jesus.
It's a really cool program. Any kid can join. I think the minimum age is something like 10, maybe 7. It's really, really low. So when it's offered to everybody at the same time, girls will accept it just as much as boys. So Leah Pritchett says racing in the NHRA is not unlike racing in junior dragsters, which she grew up doing because she was racing against the boys there. There's no girls division. We race against everybody else because it doesn't matter if you can go when the light turns green, you can race. It doesn't matter what gender you think you are.
Yeah, it's amazing. That is seriously amazing. I honestly love the fact too that women have been present in this sport. Like, we need to talk a little bit more about Shirley Muldowney too, because her career is unbelievable.
Yes.
Obviously there have been women in motorsports in other categories. Like, I know in F1, women started races in the 60s and 70s, but they never either finished higher than, into the points or anything. Shirley Muldowney won championships.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was right up there with the men doing awesome stuff.
I think she was the first 3-time champion in any division in NHRA.
That's amazing. Amazing.
People, when she first started out, would sabotage her car. They'd sabotage her crew. They'd take her tools. They'd mess with her equipment. They'd mess with the car. And she persevered through all of it. She's such a badass.
Right.
She is the reason that Melanie Troxel raced in the 90s, that the Force girls are here today, because she proved to all the guys in the division or in the NHRA that we could do exactly what they can do. And I said to somebody, it's not like they make us run with pink tires. You can't tell who's male and who's female out there. It all comes down to your talent. And she was incredibly freaking talented. One of the things that you really, really need in the NHRA is fearlessness. When you think about it, you're strapped into a rocket, basically, and it's just you. And you're relying on the calculations of your pit crew and your engineering team to not kill you. And in the event that something does go awry, there's just a drag chute to save you. So you're relying on metal and fabric. The fearlessness that it takes to get out there and to hear people call you names and hear people dismiss your abilities and your talents just because of your gender. Shirley showed all of us how to just ignore it and get over it. And I'm super grateful that when I was a kid, when I would go to the drag strip, I got to see Shirley race once in Sonoma, and I think it was in the AHRA, the American Hot Rod Association. I remember walking into the track and seeing track girls, like the
Sonoma Raceway has,
Yeah, we know what you mean.
yeah. So I remember seeing them and my dad going, you don't have to do that. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that. You don't have to show your body to be something special. Look at Shirley. Look at all the other girls out here. They can do just as well as the boys because it doesn't matter in this sport. And that's through and through been my favorite thing about the sport my whole life. And her example and seeing her go into the ranks with all the guys and kick their asses really, really carries me through the rest of my life. Like when you're sitting in a press box and it's elbow to elbow with a bunch of dudes, I just feel like I'm Shirley. And I'm like, as long as they don't sabotage my computer, I got this.
Yeah, exactly. Which sucks a little bit, honestly, but,
I was actually just flicking through her Wikipedia page, and the best thing I saw is they're talking, well, two of the great things that I've just seen on this is she talks about that they used to compete in match races, and she used to race under the name The Bounty Huntress.
Yes. Shirley the Bounty Huntress.
And I love that. I think that is so good. Like that makes me laugh. But the other thing was there's this really great quote there. A guy called who you probably know the name of. I obviously someone who doesn't know NHRA. I don't. Don Garlitz has said,
yes.
It reads, if you ask who I have the most respect for, it's Shirley Maldini. She went against all the odds. They didn't want her to race. Topped all the associations, the races. Nobody did. Just Shirley. And like. That's, like we talk about all these things and how much having someone who's paved the way makes a difference. And Sarah and I talk about this, particularly in F1, about even just the little bit that Susie Wolf got and what that leads to in the next steps. And you can see how important actually having someone who has done it, who has shown the way, who can show young girls that they can do it, what that means when it goes into increasing those numbers. So she's a badass, and I hope that we get someone like her in F1, in even IndyCar, more so than we had. Like Sarah Fisher is very similar in that way. She came in and she raced and she did, a lot of those things as the first. And so I hope we have.
I mean, and Sarah Fisher wasn't even the first in IndyCar. Like we had Janet Guthrie in the 70s. We had Lynn St. James in the 90s. Like all of that stuff. And I think I was going to say that it's almost like you see degrees. It's from like the NHRA being the most like equal down to the sliding scale of F1 being the worst, with IndyCar kind of being in the middle. NASCAR is kind of in the middle there too. Sports car racing is in the middle too. Obviously we saw Christina Nielsen win, the first championship for a woman in IMSA, the couple weeks ago, which was really great.
Lynn St. James actually does some really great stuff nowadays. She's a big partner with the Women's Sports Foundation, and they have a program, I believe it's called the Winner's Circle, and it's specifically for mentoring up-and-coming female racers in open wheel, sports car, a lot of those kind of series.
Yeah, she did a book signing at Watkins Glen when I was there, and I'm so mad we didn't get to go. But
you mentioned Janet Guthrie. She, I believe, is the first female to finish the Daytona 500. She used to race in NASCAR for a little bit too.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I again don't know a whole lot about women in NASCAR beyond beyond Danica Patrick, obviously. Because Danica Patrick.
She's
speaking.
Danica's done a ton for women in the sport too.
Yeah, no, she definitely has. I mean, that's awesome. Sorry.
Speaking of women racing, the Bathurst 1000 was this weekend in Australia, and we saw once again the return of the Harvey Norman Supergirls. So we saw Simona Di Silvestro and Renee Gracie hit the mountain. This year they finished every lap. I believe they finished on maybe the lead lap or the second lap back, but like
they were 14th, I believe.
Got
right?
there. They finished 14th. Yeah, out of I believe 30 starters.
It's not bad. It's not bad considering that last year they crashed out.
Getting to the end of Bathurst is a big achievement.
Yeah,
that is an incredible course. That's my favorite course in Forza to like challenge myself because I can't make that left turn. I'll just
Bathurst is Mount Panorama is like Australia is not a religious country too much, but Mount Panorama is is like where the bogans of Australia come to worship.
That's a good thing.
And I
to
say that as
have.
someone that will. I'm all for that. I am peak bogan. I'll be like, I'm there. I will bring my esky and my tent and my chair. I will sink a few tinnies and watch this.
I only understood like 4 of those words.
Me too. It's fine. This happens all the
I know.
time.
I went to peak Australia mode there, but hey.
You did. You tapped into the core of your being.
It all works. It's all fine. But yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, I wish Simona were back over here doing things that I could actually watch. I can't do endurance racing because I just have no attention span. So, yeah.
Well, on the plus side, Bathurst is the only endurance race in the V8 calendar, which Simona is contesting all of next year. Yeah. Your standard V8 race is about that 1.5 to 2 hour kind of
it's not bad. Okay.
Length. Yeah.
Hey, I have a question for you guys, ladies.
Them up to 50Ks, I think.
So,
do you
guys is a collective term.
I know. I feel that way about dude because I'm from California.
Me too.
My pronoun is dude. I prefer that.
My pronoun is bruh.
My pronoun is mate.
Bruh. What's up?
So I think because women have been involved in American motorsport for quite some time, since the 60s, do you think that with F1 becoming held by an American company that more opportunities for women are going to surface?
Okay, there was a pause there, so I need to run downstairs and deliver these score sheets to my captain. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, we started like 45 minutes ago.
How you feeling? Sick. I have had like a low fever all day.
I feel like I can't.
Do you want to order something?
I don't know. It's really weird.
Try having some of my vegan shake.
I'm gonna try to eat the rest of these. I really feel like having like a vegetable soup or something, like crackers. That sounds really good.
Do you want me to
My
go?
stomach is so uneasy. I don't know what's going on.
Did you get food poisoning?
I hope not. I'm hoping I'm just still dehydrated. I mean, I can't sleep.
Oh.
They actually look pretty nice.
Yeah, they changed the packaging. Do you want to wait on using that until I'm not recording?
I'm not gonna use
Okay. I have mine. Do you want mine?
Can I borrow?
Yeah. Do you see it?
He's like my favorite. It's great.
Is it on the table?
Okay. Oh Jesus.
Wow, we timed that really well, Sarah.
Brava.
All right. Cool.
Just making a note.
I'm looking for something. Aha!
Okay, so remind me what that question was again, and we will launch right into that.
Shannon asked if we thought a US company purchasing F1 would maybe increase things like seeing women in the in motorsport.
I think maybe. That's going to be my
I think
answer.
the answer is without Bernie. The answer is with Bernie Ecclestone at the front of it. Good luck. We just need to wait till he dies.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Nothing changes with Bernie Ecclestone. Nothing major will change as long as Bernie Ecclestone is still the person holding the reins.
Yeah. I'm hoping that, I can't remember the name of the company that holds it now, but whoever it is, I hope someone on their board is like, listen, you need to start with putting females on the broadcast, because NBC Sports, which has the F1 contract in America, has no women on their broadcast. And I'm like, hey, you employ me.
Neither
I could do
does-
this.
Sky don't have any women. Oh no, Sky has female.
Anchors?
Like Sky has women. No, women only do pit lane and the press scrum.
Oh, yeah. I do see a lot of women in the press.
Occasionally, they have an anchor. Occasionally, they let, you'll see Lee McKenzie or someone else. Channel 4 has Susie Wolf, I think, and Lee McKenzie. There's that. Australia, I know their broadcasts don't have any. A few of the Europeans do, but they're generally only...
I think Germany and France both do.
Women do provide, and this is the same thing, and this is the beef I have all the time in every sport. Women ask questions and wait for answers. Women do not discuss. Women do not provide analysis. Women do not host in a lot of these things. Women stand on a sideline or in a press scrum and ask questions.
And they don't get
For
to
sound
analyze.
bites.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The only exception to this, and this is outside of F1 again, but it's still like a very visible, like front-facing woman in sports, is NBC on the IndyCar broadcasts has Katie Hargett. So she'll do a lot of pit lane stuff, but they'll cut to her in the pit lane to give quick analysis of, what's going on, to report on what's happening. So I think in that aspect, that's cool, because they don't do that during the F1 broadcast, because with the world feed, they don't control who cuts to where or like what people see. With IndyCar, NBC controls all the cameras and everything, so they can cut to Katie Hargett whenever the heck they want, which is nice.
Same for NASCAR and NHRA too.
Right.
They've got tons. I think NASCAR has Caitlin Vincey, Krista Voda, Shannon Spake used to do it, and NHRA's primary person on the ground at races is a girl called Amanda Busick, who's awesome. And she actually gets to do a little bit more in-depth stuff and be like, so what is your strategy? How is this going to affect everything? Like she gets a little bit deeper than most do, but I think it's still not enough. We should be in the broadcast booth. We should be doing a lot more.
Of course. And
There's too many men.
You hear all the complaints about, I wouldn't want to hear a woman's voice on the broadcast because it just doesn't sound right. You know what? It only doesn't sound right because you've been listening to men your whole life. Sometimes
You'll get over it.
Yeah.
You can have your like whiny man baby tears, and then you'll get over it.
Yeah, I have this habit where I just block old sounding white dudes out, so it's really, really hard for me to watch an F1 broadcast and actually hear anything.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
To be fair, the guys who are on NBC's F1 broadcast are pretty decent, although they're all not American.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my other problem with NBC. Oh, not that that's a bad thing or anything, but it's just that when they had Townsend Bell in to replace Will Buxton, I was just like, holy crap, there's an American voice on this broadcast. I'm like half asleep because it's 3 a.m. Like, what is happening right now?
It was so jarring because they cut from Lee Diffie, who doesn't have an accent to me. Yeah. Like, he sounds like nothing to me because obviously he sounds like I do. And then they cut to Townsend Bell and I was like, holy hell, what is this?
Who's the guy that sounds like Len Goodman from Dancing with the Stars?
Oh,
the English guy, David Hobbs.
Yeah, it's David Hobbs.
Okay, he sounds exactly like Len.
He looks like Len. When I started watching Dancing with the Stars, I was like, is that David Hobbs? Like, what am I looking at here? What is happening?
He totally sounds like him, like especially when he was talking about Hinchcliffe. Like, I was like, this sounds like he's on the wrong race.
Yep.
Speaking of Dancing with the Stars, how good was he this week?
Oh my god, he was so good. His
And I love how he's like, check out my scar. I was like, wow, thanks, James Hinchcliffe.
I mean, I've been curious. I met him in Pocono, which was like 3 months after the accident, And I didn't really have a concept of how bad it had been because I hadn't watched practice for the Indy 500. I just knew that suddenly, like, one of the dudes wasn't racing in it. And that's, I guess it is what it is. And he was fine. So, you know.
The doctor.
He had to pump his blood, like his full like set of blood into his body 3 times.
Whoa.
Yeah, apparently that was a
And
thing.
I love how the doctor was like, what was James's, like, what is the survival rate for someone who this happens to? And the doctor literally looks at the camera and goes,
0.
He should be dead. And you're just like, oh, okay, sweet.
Oh my God.
So, and then James Hitchcock's like, this is the best thing that ever happened to me. And I was like, I want to be as happy with life as you are, James Hitchcock. Like, I used to be Hinch.
I just want to dance as well as he does. Both of my grandparents were ballroom
Oh
dancers,
my God.
and he's legit good. Like, I want to call my grandma and be like,
yeah.
how
Are
do
you
you feel
watching
about him? Like, can you believe this business? He's got, like, I think that ballroom is just joy. Like, it's just different expressions of joy. And every time he gets out there, that's what he brings. It's so much joy.
It's just like, another thing, like, it was really funny because you expected, like, going into this season of Dancing with the Stars that Laurie Hernandez was just going to, like, slaughter everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Actually, pretty much still is for a large portion of this. But Hinch has been this, like, oh my God, he's really good. But he's also so much fun to watch that people are like, I don't know anything about IndyCar and I want this guy to win.
Which is why I think they keep trying to promote IndyCar through shows like this, because they know that IndyCar has the personalities, you know, to go on these national shows. Like, they went on Family Feud and they were hilarious on there. You know, Helio was on Dancing with the Stars a couple years ago and everyone loved him. Like,
Don't they own the broadcast rights to Indy?
ABC?
Yeah.
Only half of them. NBC has
Okay, so first half?
No, they have the Indy 500 and they have like 2 other oval races, and then the
Okay.
rest of them are all on NBC.
We should put all
the
the
thing is-
races on ABC so they can all come Dancing with the Stars.
No, the ABC broadcasts are terrible. NBC is great.
This is true.
But here's the thing. I don't think, like, I mean, I think Hinch would be a great personality for Dancing with the Stars. I think Joseph Newgarden would be a great personality for Dancing with the Stars. But I think some of the others wouldn't be quite, like they're great, but their personalities might not quite fit.
They wanted Marco Andretti, and I'm just like, it's a really good thing that they picked Hinch instead, because Marco is basically a wet paper towel.
Did you guys see when
like
Michael Waltrip did it?
A super pretty paper towel, but still.
Yeah,
Michael Waltrip was a used paper towel. But again, joy. He had so much fun, and it was so much fun to watch him just do something that made him look stupid.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
with happiness and with joy.
I love Hinch's Australian because, like, she says stuff like, yeah.
Sharna, yeah,
I know
she's
what
delightful.
you're talking about. Well, you sound like me. And I'm like, yes, this makes me happy. But, Sarah, we have talked about women in motorsports, and we should probably make a brief attempt to talk about other things that happened in F1, because our podcast plan is a page and a half, and women in motorsport takes up 2 lines of it. And we are probably about 45 minutes into this show.
Yeah, let's get going.
Let's talk about Japan. You know what happened in Japan? We learned the lesson. Lewis Hamilton. Look at that start.
No, something is going on with that. Because that's fucking ridiculous.
I thought it was Nico Rosberg for like a split second, and I was like, no. And they were like, Lewis Hamilton's after a bit. I was like, oh wow.
Nico has like shot off into the distance, like no problem. Everything is great. Did you know they had to remanufacture Lewis's gloves to try to attempt to get him to start better? Like, he's gonna start the US Grand Prix with like better gloves. They're trying literally everything because he just can't start for some reason all of a sudden, even though he's been able to up until now. I know the rules for the, you know, how much you can coach the driver on the start have changed, but it shouldn't be to this extent because like everyone else is doing fine.
Shouldn't you know how to turn the car on?
Goddamn race car, yeah. Apparently there was also a wet line on his side of the racetrack, which I think Daniel Ricciardo had a slight struggle with too, but like clearly not as much as Lewis did.
excuse me, you watch the start, and if you watch it from this is my favorite part of it. If you watch it from the camera in Lewis's cut, right, the lights go, and Lewis kind of goes, and then this goes, and then suddenly like he's there, and then you see there's some Ferraris, and then you see the Red Bulls, and then you see 2 fucking Force Indians go by.
Yeah.
And you're like,
oh dear.
like here's Lewis, and you see Nico Hulkenberg, who is in like 7th, just go out in front of. So speaking of Nico Hulkenberg, who nearly ended up he nearly ended up crashing for his 2nd race in a row because him and Romain Grosjean nearly had.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh my gosh, I was like, Jesus Christ! But you're watching from Lewis, and you're just like, yep, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Force Indians.
What? Yeah, that was, honestly.
Wow, and they're like, Lewis Hamilton is in 8th, and I was like, oh wow, okay.
So honestly, Hulkenberg didn't crash at the beginning, but the really amazing thing is that no one crashed in this whole race. No one had engine problems. No one had tires exploding. The whole field finished this race for the first time in F1 since like the 60s. It was ridiculous.
No. It's happened twice this year, I think, or no, twice last year. It's only been like 7 times since the 60s.
Okay. I thought it was longer
still,
than that.
like,
yeah.
No, 1963, I think, was the first time no one did it. And then there was like a 40-year gap. And then it was like 2003, 2006, and then twice last year. And you're like, but I was like, oh, so everyone finished. Oh.
That's boring.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. I was like, I don't want people to crash, but I don't mind it when they like run over the front of each other's wings or take off someone's tire or like someone's car just catches on fire. Like I like watching people have to jump and run from their car as it's flames. They're like, ah.
Weirdly, there was more of that in the Formula E race than the Formula 1 race this weekend.
Which we will get to because that was hilarious. So F1, kind of the same old. We had 2 Mercedes on the podium. Lewis fought back from 8th to 3rd. Nico has a 33-point lead over him in the Drivers' Championship. Mercedes secure their 3rd Constructors' Championship in a row, which is just absurd. Can we get those 2017 rule changes, please, so that we can have a little more parity? Thank you.
Well, but see, here's the funny thing. We're like, Mercedes won their 3rd in a row. Do you remember what happened before Mercedes started winning?
Yeah, and I think it's annoying.
Red Bull won 4 in a row.
Yeah. And
I'm all about Red Bull.
Oh, I'm so sick. I was like, yo.
By the 4th championship, it's like, as much as I'm happy that you're doing all these things and you're doing real well, can we have someone else, please? And then Mercedes came in, and now they're on number 3, and I'm sure they'll get number 4. And
we're like, we didn't mean it like that. Like, we didn't mean like one of you.
Yeah, exactly.
How good is Red Bull right now, though?
Pretty decent, actually.
I'm digging it. I missed this. I wanted another shoey, man.
Oh no!
Really did.
Oh, God, somebody's gonna get some sort of disease, and I'm gonna laugh forever.
I love it though. I love how excited Dan gets when he wins.
Yeah, me too. I was at his first ever win actually, in Montreal.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah, that was a good time.
That's what
I fell asleep and missed it.
That was.
I fell asleep and missed it, and that was so sad.
It's a good track. It definitely is. This year, it was a little too cold for my liking. I think Grand Prix weekend, it like maxed out at 62 degrees Fahrenheit.
17C.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a little chilly.
15C.
I don't know what that.
15 degrees Celsius.
It was cold. It was cold, yeah.
Yeah, I was miserable. But yeah, Montreal's awesome. Dan won there. It was fun. Yeah, Red Bull have kind of bounced back a little bit, which is nice to see. And again, I hope that with the 2017, spec changes, maybe, and Renault seems to be putting all their eggs in one basket with their constructor team, or their works team. So I'm thinking that maybe they've got something in mind for the engines next year, and we'll have some sort of a fight.
I'm ready to be Team Renault next year with Nico Hulkenberg. Like, sign me the fuck up.
I mean,
Like, yes! Yay!
I want him to have nice things.
Sorry.
And I don't know if he's gonna
I
have
know,
nice things in the
because-
Renault.
Because here's the thing though. My approach to the Renault and Nico Hulkenberg situation is I don't think he's ever going to win a race driving a Force India.
No, he's not. But will
So,
he win one in a
you
Renault?
either-
Probably not.
There is a better chance, however. Like Force India are like at the peak of like what Force India can do, right? Force India are like overachieving at where they are right now, and they're
It's
not going
not
to
even
get.
so much that they're overachieving; it's that Williams are underachieving.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like Force India aren't going to be better than they currently are. They're not going to become Red Bull or Ferrari or Mercedes, right?
No.
So there is a better chance of Renault going somewhere than Force India going somewhere. And I don't know, I feel like Force India has basically become Team Checo Perez this year. So like if I'm Hulkenberg and I'm like, you know what? I may as well take a chance because guess what? If I don't win a race at the end of this season or next season, I'm going to become the new leader for people in races started or races participated in who has still never won a race or a podium.
Huh.
And that's not the kind of record you want.
Not really.
Like,
That's like Rosberg's record of
130
starting the greatest amount of races and winning the greatest amount of races without ever winning a championship.
yes, well, Nico Rosberg currently holds the title for most wins without a championship, and he's third for most podiums without a champion. But most races without a win, the record is currently 130, and that is held by dear friend of the podcast, Mark Webber. Because if anyone knows Big for long periods of time, it's Australia.
Fair enough.
Okay, Sarah Connors, you need to tell me about Formula E, because I fell asleep and missed it.
Formula E was nonsense. It started at 4 a.m. Eastern time.
I'm laughing because we're now in the part of the season where it's like no adjustment to me whatsoever. I was like, maybe I'll take my sleeping pill after this race.
Yeah, it's just not good. So the next dev car had the pole, which is great because they hadn't done anything significant in season 2 after winning the championship in season 1, Nelson Piquet Jr. Qualifying was a bit of a clusterfuck. Robin Friends crashed, and the super pole, which is like, you know how in IndyCar they do like the first round and then the round of 12 and then the round of 6. In Formula E, they do it in groups. So they do the first 4 rounds, which is like everyone goes once. And then they do the Super Pole, which is the top 6, do like a shootout for the pole. That got canceled because they just didn't have time. It was from like noon to 1 Hong Kong time, and then the race was at 4. So like there just wouldn't have been enough time to kind of get everything together. So that got canceled. PK had the pole. There were some rookies that did really well in qualifying that just didn't do super well in the race. Jose Maria Lopez being one of them. Felix Rosenquist was another one. They qualified pretty high up the grid. Sebastian Buemi won from like 8th, which for one thing, like it took until the end of the race for everything to cycle through so that the midfield were at the front. Like the yellow flags and everything that happened throughout the race just really benefited people that were running a little bit further back and who were saving their battery a little bit. For example, Nick Heidfeld ended up on the podium. He conserved his battery super well, ended up in 3rd after starting 10th. The Andretti cars ended up 5th and 6th, which is pretty amazing. Their improvement over last year is amazing. They were consistently, running that season 1 engine, finishing outside the points. It was super annoying as an Andretti fan. Like, I'm glad they're bouncing back. Like, that's great. Shan, you watched it too, right? What were your thoughts?
It seemed like, I don't know, the cars all seemed squirrely to me, but it's just after watching F1.
Yeah. No, that's true. The back ends of those cars slide so much.
And that one turn.
I have a friend.
That one turn where I don't remember who it was went into the corner, and I think PK got in the back of him. I was like, that isn't even like a real turn. Like that's not even
yeah.
wide enough for the cars. That track itself, I'm not super familiar with it because it's not in Forza 6 and it's not on the NASCAR circuit. So every time I see it, I'm like, what are you?
Yeah,
and that
it's
one
the
turn,
Hong Kong street circuit. I mean, most of the tracks in Formula E, are they on Forza?
I don't know because Formula E runs street races, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's only like 3, I think, Rio. What are the? Oh, sorry, my boyfriend has headphones on. He's playing a different video game right now. I was gonna ask him.
Long Beach
Yeah.
was one of them for a
Long Beach.
while.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like Mexico City was one as well, so that was in Formula One. And then
Coda. Oh, they don't do E
they
at
don't do
Coda.
Circuit Americas. No, the
Yeah.
only American race was Long Beach.
The funniest thing I found about the Formula E weekend is I have a friend who has never watched Formula E, and she watched it for reasons relating to drivers that shall not be mentioned on this podcast. And so she messages me, and she's never seen Formula E. She's only watched like F1, Indy cars, NASCAR, all that kind of stuff. She's like, "What the hell is this noise?" And I was like, if you've never heard it, she's like, what, like, she's like, I'm looking for a mosquito in my room. I was like, yep.
Yep.
Pretty much.
You can hear the
like, if you've
tires
never heard
squealing.
it,
Pretty awesome.
you're like, it throws you so considerably the first time.
The thing that throws me is switching your vehicle instead of any other part of it.
Oh,
like,
that's also hilarious.
it's so funny to watch, like getting out of a car and getting back into a different car, which is just facing the other direction. I feel like they should be playing the Benny Hill theme song in the garage while they do it.
They should set up an obstacle course between the two cars so that it's a little more difficult.
Yeah, and the better you do the obstacle course, the better chance you have for fan boost.
Exactly. Oh yeah, seriously. But that's supposed to end in season 5.
Get rid of Ben.
And it's just because the batteries just aren't efficient enough. They don't really have to worry about tire changes because they don't go fast enough, and they don't really have to worry about the degradation quite as much as in other series. Although I think, especially if they're only running half distance, right? And it's a 45-minute race. So I think that when the battery becomes not an issue and you're only using one car, pit stops will become a thing, and that'll be super interesting, actually.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing how they deal with adjusting from just having a driver change to having pit stops. Like, how is the team gonna, adapt to that? That's pretty interesting.
Is it gonna sound like Legos, snapping Legos into place? That's what I imagined that it would sound like, putting in all the electrical equipment.
I don't know. I don't think they'd have to touch the electrics. It's just the tires. So it would probably sound like it does in F1 or IndyCar. I think they're going to have to adjust the setup of the team because the teams aren't set up to change the tires that.
Yeah, they'll have to steal from the other more active pit crews. Like, I don't know, there's tons of pit crews in NASCAR that need jobs. Like, they could use them.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting from a budgeting perspective, what the implication is for such smaller teams and having to. Sarah, did your hockey team score again?
It's 5-3, you guys. Brad Marchand and David Backus each have 2 goals.
Oh, man.
I'm weeping.
Wow.
Wiping the tears out of my eyeballs. It's fine.
Jesus Christ. Well, as I said, that's an interesting kind of thing. Like, these are small teams in comparison to F1 and that, and these are large traveling kind of races. So the idea of having to bring,
more staff,
people. Is
if you think about it, obviously they don't travel across the globe, but IndyCar teams are not that big. Like, if you think about the
it'd be like a GP2 thing.
Not even GP3. I mean, if you IndyCar specifically, like teams like KVSH and Rahal Letterman Lenigan do not have that much staff at all. And the pit crews are super small. Like, it's not like F1, GP2, and GP3 where you have like 19 people changing a tire.
Yeah. Where you have people whose job is just to change tires.
What if it was one pit crew? They've got a 30 or 40 person team, and you have to strategize when you can pit based on the availabilities of those teams. So, like, 5 people go to help one car, 5 people go to help another car, 5 people go to help another car, and maybe 2 more teams can come in for a pit, and they just rotate. So they, instead of being loyal to the team, they're loyal to the
series.
The series, yeah.
That would be interesting. That would definitely be an interesting way to do it.
It would cut down on overhead because it's only the same few people.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the other thing though is that you think about it, and a lot of the teams participating in this series have the budget to have a decent pit crew. You know, you have Jaguar, you have DS, DS Virgin. So Virgin has
Mhm.
tons of money. I'm thinking DS because they're one of my clients, and like, yeah, they have the budget to do that. You know, Cheetah, I don't know, they're kind of jankety anyway. Mahindra has a massive, support system. They run motorcycles too as well. So, most of these teams, they're going to be fine. I mean, you're transferring from, working as a mechanic on some of these cars to working as a tire changer. I feel like that's not that big of a jump to make. I mean, it's not an Indy car, so you'll be fine, Formula E. You'll be fine.
Those cars are light too. They're not that heavy.
Yeah. No, they have to be, right? So
it's not like NASCAR pit crews where they get like former linebackers.
No, exactly.
So the next Formula E race sees us in Africa,
Morocco.
in Marrakesh.
Yep. That's
Marrakesh, Morocco.
Mid-November.
Next month, mid-November, and then we got a few months off.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Monsoon season, right?
It's a long time since actually that we've seen like any form of like top level motorsports coming in traditional open wheels coming out of there, because it's been a long time since the Grand Prix stopped running in South Africa.
That's true. And I mean, if you think about it, like they're really the only motorsport series that runs in the winter at this point. You have Race of Champions in January, but aside from that, like it's basically Formula E and that's it. And I know they want to make they basically have a year-round calendar. Like season 2 only ended at the end of June. Next year it's going to go into July. So they're basically they're going to have a year-round calendar, and like it would be great if we didn't have month-long breaks. But I think they also had a couple races that were tentatively scheduled for January and possibly also December that just fell through.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sorry, I'm watching the Habs Sabres game, and there was a live camera on someone who didn't know there was a live camera on him, and he was so uncomfortable. Sorry.
So we've talked about Formula E. We've talked about Formula 1. We should jump to the other section and let's talk about Mark Webber.
So you talk about Mark Webber, and I might walk away to get a glass of wine. Go.
No, Sarah Connors, this is a two-person podcast.
I'm kidding.
I would never do that to you when you started talking about Alex
Mark
Rossi.
Webber is done in race cars because that glass of water gif is the greatest thing ever.
Oh, that doesn't water gif never gets less funny because it's just like
I use it for everything.
Like it is so good for so many usages.
It's true.
It just looks so
it's very
unamused. So as was announced today in Japan, Mark Webber, Formula F1 driver, current WEC driver for Porsche, has announced that at age 40 he's old and he's had enough of this bullshit and he is done. He will be remaining on C4 as a commentator. He will be a Porsche ambassador. He will have won one championship in his lifetime in WEC, gotten second and third in a ton of others, and never quite managed to win Le Mans. Currently, he is the record holder for most races until you got to win, and nearly a lot of wins without championships or podiums. And all of those records...
very sad.
Well, some of those records will be taken by potentially Nico Hulkenberg. Currently, Nico Rosberg holds a bunch of them as well. We will remember his contribution in that water GIF, giving us the Nico Rosberg nickname of Brittany, which I still don't know whether it is him or not who stuck the picture in Nico Rosberg's passport. That's my favorite part of it. It's not the nickname itself, but the fact that someone managed to get Nico Rosberg's passport and stick a photo in it without him realizing.
And then he tried to go through customs with the passport with a picture of Britney Spears.
I think he opened it up at I think it was at a hotel desk, he said, in Dubai, and like handed it to the reception person to check him in. And she was like, this is a picture of Britney Spears. And it's like, yeah. I also would like to remember the awesomely gross YouTube video that is him doing the Suzuka circuit at full speed while throwing up in his helmet. Because that's gross. It's gross and it's hilarious. They're literally, they're like I think he said in the end he had some bad sushi. And I think he was winning the race, right? Or something like that. And he's like, I'm going to have to retire. And he's like throwing up in his helmet. And he's like, and then he's like, and you can hear it. And then he's like, no, I'm good. And like throws up again. And then I think this is the same race. And so he was doing this. And I think he was maybe winning, and it looked like it was going to be his first win. And then Sebastian Vettel, driving for Toro Rosso, drove into the back of him and put them both out of the race.
So he puked on himself for nothing.
I know, right? Like, and it's so funny because he's like telling them that he's fine and then throwing up in between words. And you're like, wow, the clarity on these radios are really good.
I don't understand how you could do that. Like, you can't take your eyes off of what's in front of you for a second. I can't keep my eyes open while I'm throwing up. Like, none of this makes sense.
I don't know.
And we thought the shoey was gross.
Yes.
Yeah, I just, you know what? At least Mark Webber was cultured enough to never be that gross on a podium.
He did throw the shoe away, too. He took Dan's shoe.
So apparently that Japan race was not Suzuka, it was Fuji. But still,
it was Fuji.
Japan.
It was in Japan.
Yeah. In the heavy ring.
Look, we all know I'm a big Mark Webber fan. He was like my first proper job in sport. He was unfailingly lovely and quite hilarious to me. And it's also, he epitomizes everything that Australians kind of like in sport, like blunt and blunt. You know, he's one of those characters in sport where you never kind of knew, you never didn't know what his opinion was or where he stood on something. And I also really liked the fact that when F1 was looking at going to Bahrain and they had those massive human rights things happening, he was one of the few drivers that came out and was like, we probably shouldn't be going. There are bigger, more important things in Bahrain happening right now, and we shouldn't be part of this. And I always liked that, you know. A lot of people didn't come out and say anything because, you know, what the team said or anything like that, and I respected that he did. In that sense, you know, like at least it was something through it like that. And I like the fact I had to tell him one day he wasn't allowed to drive the golf cart and I had to drive it. And that was the most stupid I've ever felt in my life. Actually, no, that was the second most stupid because 10 minutes earlier I was in a room and I radioed over my headset that it was okay. I'd found Shannon's Speedos and I turned around to Mark Webber being the only other person in the room laughing at me because I was radioing someone and holding some guy's Speedos in my other hand. So I felt a little bit stupid.
Why wasn't he allowed to drive the golf cart?
Because he hadn't signed the paperwork. You had to sign to be covered by the insurance that comes with like borrowing the golf carts. And so it was me driving him and a V8 supercar driver, and I felt like a dickhead.
Hold on. You were the most qualified driver in that particular instance of driving.
Oh, God, no. I lost like 3 people out of these fucking golf carts in 5 days.
But you signed the waivers, so technically you are the most qualified.
This one was like gas powered rather than electric. So when you put your foot down, like the motor would kick in and it would like jump and then go. And that jump motion, I'd be like, okay, is everyone holding on? And they'd be like, whatever. And the jump motion would happen and someone would go falling out the back. And I was like, for God's sake. You may have two Olympic gold medals, but you're not very bright. Get back inside. But yes. So long, Mark Webber. I will still find a way to bring you into just about every podcast for the entire point of annoying Sarah Connors. At
Listen,
least we're
it's
going to
fine.
see you more. Look, here's the thing. And someone made a really good point about this. Jensen Button is retiring. Mark Webber is retiring. Please, can we just put both of them on a broadcast? Someone else was like, and when Fernando Alonso retires the year after, you can just have the three of them. I'm like, firstly, I don't know if you'd get anything done with the broadcast crew of Button, Alonso, and Webber.
Oh my God.
It would be shenanigans.
The best
literally
shenanigans.
Shenanigans. 'Cause
Somebody
at the
call
moment,
NBC.
if you ever watch if you ever, and we'll get DC can stay. But if you've ever watched C4 so far this year, they were like, clearly one day they were like, okay, go and interview a driver. And the next minute it's like, Mark Webber is interviewing Fernando Alonso and DC is interviewing Jensen Button. And you're like, you guys didn't even try. Like, you didn't even try. You just were like, yeah, I feel like talking to these guys. Let's go.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
Sarah,
Just
I'm done.
remote,
I'm
it's
out.
fine,
I'm
it's
done.
fine.
I'm out. You can go.
Keep that.
Your turn.
What else
You
we
go.
got to talk about? We got to talk. I want to talk about IndyCar silly season, but we've been talking for like an hour and 20 minutes at this point. So next time, we'll talk
Let's
next
put it
time.
like this: after the USGP, when we loop back here, IndyCar silly season will be hopefully more dominoes will have fallen.
True.
We'll see more great photos of Joseph Newgarden wearing signed Passionos.
I don't like it at all.
I
You know what?
like-
I'm going to talk about this
I
really
like
quickly
tin
because
pancakes.
it's
I like tin
it's
pancakes.
bothering me so much. Joseph at Penske is just the weirdest thing, and like I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's really weird that Chip Ganassi is going to be at Honda next year. Like I don't know how I feel about that either. AJ Foyt is going to Chevy. They still have 0 drivers because Takuma Sato was like a big Honda dude, so he's gone. I'm pretty sure Jack Hawksworth is
Jack Hawksworth was terrible.
fucking garbage this year. Last row of the Indy 500 grid, last row of pretty much everywhere else too. There are still like 5 or 6 open seats in this series right now. Like the 2 Foyt cars, the 4th Andretti car, Ed Carpenter's 21 car, and half of the 20. I don't know if Rahal Letterman Lanigan is going to try to run a second car like they did with Spencer Pigot for a couple races, but that's open too. The KVSH
I'm all about
car,
Kevin
like,
Magnussen
what-
for IndyCar. Kevin Magnussen for
You know,
IndyCar.
as it's a pipe dream, but it'd be cool to see.
Okay, no. But here's the thing. Didn't he apparently have an IndyCar drive last season? But because Fernando Alonso, like, I remember there was actually that interview with Kevin Magnussen that says, yeah, I had an IndyCar drive for 2015, but because I had to come and do Australia for Fernando Alonso because he was injured, I couldn't do it.
Yes, he did. But who knows if that team
So it's not
already
that much
has
of
other
a pipe
seats
dream.
filled. If whatever team he had an agreement with has all their seats full this year, like I don't know if he's going to be that much of a
Give
possibility.
me some hope.
Well, there's hope for sure. I mean,
give me
anyone could be in IndyCar. Fucking Nelson Piquet Jr. wants to come to IndyCar. Like anyone could do it, right? Juan Pablo Montoya still needs a seat.
Hey. There's probably a jet dryer somewhere.
Hey!
Yeah, you know.
PK or Montoya.
Penske has said that Montoya is welcome to do their sports car program and also run the 500, but he apparently wants a full-time seat.
Yeah.
So they're saying that he might go to Ed Carpenter Racing, and I'm like, but Ed Carpenter Racing is Team America, so you can't do that.
Do we
You just
dare
never
offer
know.
a ride to Milka Duno?
Team South
She's
America.
kind of been out of it for a while, though, hasn't she? It's been a couple of years.
A couple of years. My new doctor, when I met her, I was like, you have a beautiful accent. Where are you from? And she said, Venezuela. I was like, oh, only people I know from Venezuela are race car drivers. And she was like, oh, yes, Crash Store. And then we laughed and laughed. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I listened to Grid Girls because I would not be able to like have this rapport with my doctor were it not for the Crash Store joke.
Bless. That's excellent.
I love medical bonds forged over Pastor Maldonado.
Listen, he's very important in that respect. I would love to see him in IndyCar. That'd be really funny. I wanted to see Simona.
Oh my God.
in it, but,
Think how great it would be because the car doesn't break that easily.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's definitely a little more sturdy than the F1 cars. So
I think he needs a roll cage. Like put him in a stock car.
Mm-hmm.
Or like
Dirt track racing. He could do
Yeah.
dirt track racing. Be fun. But yeah, we'll go more in depth about IndyCar silly season next time after the US Grand Prix, which is the next F1 race, which I'm hyped about because I'm gonna be there.
So jelly.
Circuit of the Americas is beautiful. This will be my 4th time there. I got to see the V8s run there in 2013, which is really cool. But yeah, it should be good. I mean, it's nice that the championship isn't wrapped up by this race this year. We saw Lewis win the championship there last year, which was kind of dull for the rest of the season. Hopefully we see something interesting.
Have you ever been on the track?
Oh yeah, they let the fans onto the track.
Oh, yeah.
After the race. I've never driven it, but
There's a program, like a motorcycle program that you could do for $3,500. You can go do a track day at COTA. Absolutely worth it. I'm like, I need to go to COTA. How do I get a bike to COTA and have $3,500 to go?
they have during World Endurance Championship weekend, if you have a car that's like the same make as the same make as one of the cars in WEC, you can like drive it around the circuit as like part of a group, as part of your parking pass. So I keep trying to get my friend Elizabeth to like take her Mazda to the track and like go do the thing. She won't do it.
Have you ladies heard of
I'd be like, please, we gotta drive the Mazda around.
Yeah.
Have you heard of 24 Hours of Lemons?
Yes. Oh my God. They do it in New Hampshire and
Yes!
I like want to find a team.
Yeah, they do it here at Sonoma, and it's actually coming up, I think, next month. I'm gonna go cover it. I've wanted to do it, and I've told my dad like 300 times, like, my old Volvo, let's get it. Let's put a roll cage in it, strip it down, and I'm gonna drive it into the sun.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I've driven for 24 hours straight
You
before.
don't own
I
a
could
car.
probably do it by myself. Maybe with one other driver.
Your butt would hurt though, all the turns.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And you have to like kind of go fast, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to do that at some point. I might look into it next year.
It's pretty inexpensive. Like, I think you're $500 for your car, $300 for your safety package or something like that. Or no, safety equipment's not included. But I think you ladies should do it. You should.
Yeah,
You should be a team.
You know what? If I do it, I'll report back and we'll do an episode.
Wait. The problem is I would love to be part of the team, but someone would have to teach me how to drive a manual beforehand.
You don't have to do a manual in 24 Hours of Lemons. You could do an automatic.
Mhm.
I mean, it is a disadvantage,
I
but
have no idea how to drive a manual. I've never driven one.
No, my car's a stick shift, so I'd be fine.
I'd be okay.
Mhm.
So you'd have to be race control.
Would you-
Sarah and I'll drive.
Look, we have part of a team here.
It's okay.
already.
I'm good at telling people. I am very good at sitting around and telling people what to do.
We could even use my car because my Toyota Yaris is delightful, and if you put a roll cage in it, I can also use it for rallies.
2 for 1.
I should look at a rally. My grandparents were rally car racers back in the day in Scotland. Good old grandma winning her Scottish champions. Badass. Well, Sarah Connors, you are going to the USGP not this weekend, but next weekend.
Yes, correct.
Pending this being, if you are listening to this on Thursday, which you will not be because I have not edited it, but Sarah Connors, you are
So
heading to the
probably this coming
USGP and then
weekend.
yeah, probably coming this coming weekend.
Yeah.
You will report back to us along with any thoughts from fellow good girl Liz, who will also be accompanying you to the USGP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll see if I can do any sort of like interview nonsense at all. I mean, we're going to do the autograph session, so maybe if I can get Sebastian Vettel to say words into my microphone, I'll do the thing.
That sounds like the best way for him to get in trouble.
Right.
Hey, can you say this into here? Yeah.
How do I get kicked out of this race? It's
Well,
fine.
For the Japanese edition of the Grid Girls, Shannon, you need to tell us all about where we can find you on the internet.
Okay. I'm Oshanada on everything: Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. Oshanada.
Oh, Canada, basically.
Exactly.
It's like Oh Canada, but with a shh.
Exactly. And my website, if you want to check that out, is surlepatinois.com. If you don't know how to spell it, look on the back of a Canadian $5 bill. It's on the
We
bottom.
will put it in the. We'll put it in the notes for our show.
Yes,
Cool.
yes. You mean the old Canadian 5, right?
Yeah, the old one. So I keep a really janky one in my wallet, and if I run into Canadians, I ask them, "Can I buy a $5 bill off of you? I'll give you an American one, and it's worth more because I want one of the old ones again."
Yeah, yeah. I have one in my desk drawer too. They're really pretty. They have hockey on the back. If you haven't
They
seen
do.
them.
There's
Yeah.
a girl skating
Yeah.
on the back. It's the
The
best.
new ones, I think the new 5s have science on them or something
The
like that.
Canadarm. Yeah.
Oh, it's the Canadarm. Yep,
Yeah.
the space station, which is cool too, but also like not hockey.
No.
So anyway. But yeah, thank you for listening. We'll catch you after the US Grand Prix, and good night.
You didn't wrap up. I hate
Good job,
you.
Pam.
It's okay.
I'm gonna stop this broadcast.